UFC 314 just wrapped. It was an amazing fight. And today we're gonna comment about all the fights, their results, all the results that were predicted, all the results that were impressive, and everything else. So stick up with us. So let's start out with Jim Miller versus Chase Hooper. Was the second fight of the prelim. It was a great fight. Hooper uh, went out there and looked aggressive. He was doing very well with those body shots. He was doing very well, kind of maintaining the distance. And when he engaged on the grappling side, it wasn't his advantage. That was the thing about him the whole fight, right? He was basically winning every exchange. Jim Miller showed that he is still solid. He has muscle on him. His jiu-jitsu is good, but that's time for Hooper. Hooper is looking like a um, real high level fighter, and he's looking like he's gonna be the next top 5 guy, top 10 guy, and that's what I believe is gonna happen. In my opinion, that's the reality. He looked like perhaps not a world beater. That's a strong word, but like he looked very impressive tonight. And his grappling, he was able to give danger and give violence from the bottom, from top, from up close, from far away, and all of that made him win tonight. Then we're going to talk about Yan Jiaonan versus Jadiroba. Jadiroba. All right. Honestly, in the beginning, I felt like okay, Jiaonan has a good chance here because she was staying away, she was doing the strikes and doing her little noises and you know attacking from up far. But as the fight progressed, you start seeing that Jajiroba's grappling is strong. She's a strong woman. She's very physically fit, and her technique is amazing. So as the fight progressed, she started getting more and more dominant. She almost got 2 finishes, very very close finishes. If I'm not wrong, the first and the third round. So it went for her. Another decision. Let's go for the next fight. The prelim main event. We're gonna talk about Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. Woodson was looking with that, strange style of his, keeping the distance, using his boxing, and he was showing that he was good at it. But Ige did what he always did. Ige's style is the style of a guy that knows how to close space, that knows how to throw those power punches. And he's a boxer. Boxers have been dealing with this problem for a while. Woodson's bringing perhaps new problems, or at least newer problems to the MMA game. But for someone like Ige that's so boxing heavy, that trains boxing so much, all of those things are not so new, you know, and you could see it. He was doing well, he was switching stances, he was throwing them power punches, and that led him to stack up momentum and with time stack up damage, which led him to get the TKO. Opening up the main card, Dominic Reyes versus Nikita Krylov. I was impressed by the fight. I was very, truly impressive by that fight because Reyes just went out there and he was knocking down Krylov with every strike. He was looking like Francis Ngannou out there, and Nikita was not showing much. Dominic Reyes got the KO, did very well in the way building up to the KO, and got it. Got a very good finish. And the Dominic Reyes story arc is just getting started. At this point, I feel like he looked so impressive that I don't doubt that he will get to a title shot once more. Bryce Mitchell, brother, versus Jean Silva. Honestly, it kind of went how we expected. Like for a period of time, I was thinking, nah, I think Bryce will clutch up, Bryce will do well. He's looking fucking psychopathic for this fight. He's looking psychopathic for this fight. But like it went like how I imagined. Jean Silva defended the takedowns very well. Uh, Jean Silva, and it's kind of in a sense, not much. It's more of a specifically Sean Silva stuff. But fighting nerds are economic with their movements. So you see that he's very relaxed and he's not striking much. When he strikes is because he's precise with it and he's trying to finish it. That's his approach for fighting. That's his approach. And that's what he did massively. The first round, Bryce kind of did well with them kicks and he was looking good and all of that. But as the round progresses and later on the second round, it started getting clear that his style and his approach was not enough. Maybe his style, like his skills and his physical capacities, but not his approach, was not enough. Dijon started to pick up volume of damage. He started striking and doing all of his things. He started landing them uppercuts and some kicks and all of that. He threw an amazing, amazing, amazing spinning attack that hit him clean, and Bryce didn't go down. But big thing was his ninja chokes and his guillotines were spectacular. He almost got Bryce twice between the first and second round. Before Bryce shoots with a lot of damage already taken, and that led him to get the choke. So, in a unbelievable manner, I thought John would do well and do all of that, but I thought he would KO. I sincerely did not expect to Jean to get a submission, neither me or anybody else, basically. So yeah, Jean Silva by submission. Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. You know, I have all the respect in the world for Pitbull. He's great. He's amazing. I got to watch kind of the later part of his career in Bellator. I'm a guy that I always talk about the importance of other organizations and all of that, honestly, because I think it's important for the UFC to have competition. The best thing would be if there were not like organizations in that sense, and they were like in boxing. Not exactly like boxing because boxing is kind of chaotic, but I like that approach of like you enter the organization that you like, and the champion is always in that organization, which is not the case always. Like especially if you consider stuff like lineal champions. So for a while, Bellator was the second biggest organization, and Patricio was the goat of Bellator, without a doubt. The problem, in my opinion, is that first of all, Patricio went there late in his career. He was already kind of past his prime. His prime was like 4 years ago. Um, so that's when he should be in the UFC. When there were talks like, even like some time ago, right before he started to get, before he tried to go to bantamweight, right? There were talks between like Pitbull and Volkanovski, and people were theorizing. But yeah, he finally went to the UFC, and Yair was looking good. He was throwing them kicks. He was striking from the bottom, and Pitbull was patient, way too patient. The first round was all Yair, but Justin didn't land basically anything. He was just kind of the outside waiting. And in the first round, even though he was waiting, he was in a space that was kind of better because he was actually outside. He couldn't be reached. The problem was in the second and parts of the first as well and the third, where he started to get in a space where Yair could reach him and was reaching him. but he was outside, so it was hard for him to reach him, for Pitbull to reach Yair. So Yair was throwing them kicks, was keeping the distance, and was getting in and getting out, and he was throwing those combinations of kicks and punches. That was amazing. There were moments that I believe that's what Patricio trained the most for, which was he would counter and throw a combination on Yair. And it landed flush. It landed incredible. He landed like two or three combinations like that on Yair in the second. And throughout the third, I think he landed like two more. And that was amazing. That was honestly great. But problem is that it seemed like that was all he had. And that was basically all he had. He tried to do some wrestling, but I think was not the best calculated. He got himself in positions that against Jair specifically were not the smartest. His approach in the wrestling itself was not the best. So even though I think he is outside of his prime, I do believe that people can hang with the best, but his approach needs to change, especially against basically his stylistic nightmare, which is Yair Rodriguez. Yair Rodriguez is basically like the worst match for him in the featherweight division. But I do think he still have, I will not say a future in the division. I'll not say a future in the UFC, but he has some fights in him, some good fights in him. I think he belongs in top 10. Depending on the configuration, I can even say that he belongs in top 5, depending on the configuration. But yeah, that's great. So keep going. Yeah, you're in the side. I'm happy for Year because he came back. He is an amazing fighter. I love his style. He's flashy. He is incredible. He's intelligent. He's smart with what he does. He's creative, and he did everything. Like I believe that honestly, he did everything he could to win. Everything. Like even when he was in the bottom position, he was throwing and he was striking. So in the bottom, he was winning. So he did everything he could. He did everything well. About the title shot, I want to talk more about like the matchmaking video. But honestly, in my opinion, nah, that ain't it. His stuff is not, you know, his space is not on the title shot. He needs to face either Diego Lopez or like moves area left. But I'm gonna go deeper into later, and I'm actually coming from recording this right after the fight itself, so I don't know who's gonna win. So you know what I'm saying. Paddy Pimblett versus Michael Chandler was a great match. Paddy was just dominating Michael Chandler, like he was piecing him up. Chandler was barely throwing anything. He was dominating him on the grappling as well. Now we're really talking about like unbelievable level stuff. Like Patty did it twice as good as anybody who was thinking he was gonna win. And that was the decision that I changed like last time. Like I was analyzing stuff and I was like, you know what? Like I think he can win. And yeah, I changed the decision and it was a great decision to change it because honestly, amazing performance by Patty. Uh he got the sub. And yeah, Chandler needs to kind of apply his technique. He literally just go and throws. If you are able to adapt to his simple game and you are able to kind of not get touched that much, you're kind of safe. Especially a Scouse that doesn't get knocked out, mate. It's kind of safe. So yeah. And now let's talk about the most important match. The most important match. My goat is back. Alexander the Great Volkanovski. He's finally back. I'm so fucking happy. It's unbelievable, right? Um, honestly, okay, let's do some analyzing. First of all, Diego couldn't fight him. Fight him. Diego's style itself is complicated against a guy that manages distance as well as Volkanovski. because he's a short distance fighter, a super short distance fighter. He his bread and butter is like uppercuts and short hooks, which is strange for his height, right? As strange as may sound, this is one of the very few matches where the shortest guy was the outside fighter and the biggest, tallest guy was the inside fighter. So Volkanovski was just pumping them jab, yeah, and hitting the nose and kind of marking his territory in a sense. Diego started kind of slower, right? I believe this was somewhat intelligent decision because he needs to understand that he can't be aggressive all the time in a 5 rounder because of his gas tank. If it go past 2 rounds, it's already a problem. But he slowed down, and that was actually better for Volkanovski's game. He pumped the jab, and I was actually amazed because first of all, his chin looked better. Didn't look amazing, but it looked better. Okay, and he was throwing himself in some moments. You know, a couple of times per round, he would get in, and Diego would throw, and when Diego would throw, he would kind of dodge and stay in the pocket, but he would land his own hook. I think it was a hook or a cross, whatever, a counter that was hitting and hitting was, you could feel it was strong as fuck. You could feel it was big punches. And Diego, if it was not Diego, if it was someone that didn't have such an amazing Mexican chin in a sense. I know he's not Mexican exactly, but like he has a Mexican chin in that sense. He would go down. You know, he was just throwing. He was going at it, powerful as fuck, right? And that's how it went in the beginning. Diego had moments. Diego visually opened up scars. He visually damaged Volkanovski's face, right? And if I'm not wrong, in the third round, he dropped Vuk. Earlier in that round, Volkanovski himself dropped Diego, but um, it was kind of more of a push. Meanwhile, the Diego one was kind of more of a knockdown itself, but the rest of the round was his. And it was also kind of complicated situation. Um, I think it was the fourth round. I don't know. I think it was fourth round. That like he just threw a hook, Diego, that is, and it cut Volkanovski open. He basically couldn't see, so he just spent like a minute, 2 minutes, just defending and going backwards and defending because like he couldn't see basically. So he was in the situation, and I was afraid for him. But he kind of recuperated. He established his rhythm once more, and at that point, Diego couldn't do a lot. Everything that Diego could do is just go full bull at him and just throw in and wish, throw in and wish and throw and wish. In the kind of latter round, Volkanovski didn't want to kind of engage that much in pockets because Volkanovski himself was taking damage. Diego is durable as fuck. Volkanovski is not as durable as Diego, even though he's strong. It's also interesting how Volkanovski used, especially in the later part of the rounds, his grappling. Because what he understood, okay, I can't clinch with Diego because Diego is amazing clinching and giving damage in the clinching. So what he would do, he would attack in the legs and around kind of that abs area, that core area. Why? Because he could hold the arms in the position he would impossibilitate to Diego to throw them punches and all of that. The knees in kind of that pressure against defense situation was also great. He had some moments with the knees as well. Volkanovski, that is. And yeah, uh, amazing match. Diego had good moments. He had Volkanovski hurt. He had Volkanovski certainly in dangerous situations. Without a doubt, he cut him open, he rocked him, and I don't think Volkanovski's chin will be the same. But he went there very prepared. He went there strong. He mixed it up. He had his counters. He had his jabs. He had his movement, amazing footwork. He had his grappling, and that together with his composure and his experience was the stuff that made him able to survive those moments that he was rocked. Most fighters would get finished if they were in the same situation as Volk, even considering the fact that uh, Volkanovski was already winning, right? Even considering that, Diego put him in situations that most guys wouldn't survive. But Volkanovski survived. Volkanovski did amazing. He recuperated and then he established his jab in his own rhythm once more. And he added more elements, a couple of different elements to break the rhythm. You could see it was very interesting how he was kind of throwing that uh, tip just for Diego to try to defend, and then he would throw the leg kick. That was an amazing strategy. And even in those moments, either he didn't hit the leg kick, he would hit the jab. That was an amazing strategy. The fact that Volkanovski kind of followed the basic strategy that he was doing, like okay, stay on the outside, movement, jab. If you get in space, you follow the same kind of pattern because Diego threw the same patterns, not exactly always, but the same general patterns in the pocket. And you do that, and then you counter with a hook. He understood that and he followed the plan, but he added just enough variation, just enough complexity to his game that he was able to not only maintain it but to drive in that situation. And I think that was unbelievable performance of Volkanovski. The end of the fifth round kind of scared me because Diego just went like full rage mode. He went like full berserk, like zero guard, screaming, just throwing, just walking to Volkanovski and throwing. You could see that Volkanovski was confused, like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't you gonna pull like your position up? What the fuck are you doing? And I was scared for the moment because it was like, okay, what the fuck is gonna happen? But Volkanovski followed the plan. He was disciplined. He didn't want to, be kind of Max Holloway. He didn't want to be Max Holloway against Gaethje. He preferred to be and follow a secure decision. And you can judge him. It was a smart decision. So Volkanovski is like a fighting nerd. So yeah, amazing fight card, amazing night. And that's it. Thank you all for listening. And God bless you all. And tomorrow I'm releasing a match. Bye bye.